Good evening and welcome. I'm Bob Pace, your host. And today we're going to talk about fighting CPS and keeping your children or get back your children. And there are several ways you can interact with this podcast. This is live from Southern California. You found us on Facebook, and I'm broadcasting on the YouTube channel using the StreamYard application. I hope you all had a great day, but I know that there's something really troubling you, which is the Child Protection Agency. It's a branch of social service that has been really troublesome to a lot of people, including myself. I had an interesting podcast this morning because I had a guest speaker on it from West Virginia. And they were brought up in foster care at age 3. And then they grew up, and I guess right away CPS got involved with their children. There seems to be many of you out there that are foster care children, gone through the whole system, and then start to have children and still get messed up. Now, there's a part of neglect or abuse I really haven't heard much about. And the topic that morning was incest, pedophilia, and adult entertainment. And what it really was is how there's a group, I guess adults or something, that have a kind of a mafia mentality. They're controlling the area in West Virginia that really didn't give much opportunity for parents to have much chance. I guess in the particular town that she was from or so forth, they have a lot of incest and stuff, and that's wrong. I mean, we're not supposed to be having our children exposed to that, and pedophilia is wrong. And, and adult entertainment with children is wrong. We don't need to be out there, and we need to protect our children. And we as parents, this last Saturday, there's a whole group of children that were playing at the mall in Indiana. And it was sad to hear. It was sad to hear, there's 7 shots that came out. And, I guess most of you have heard it, but you wonder, where are the parents? 7 children were wounded, all under the age of 17, in a mass shooting near Indianapolis. And, where were the parents allowing these young people? I mean, it's sad. It really is sad. And you wonder where the parents are. You really wonder where the parents are. The victims were ages 12 to 16, and they corrected to 17. And one of the girls is 16, the other 3 are 14. 2 boys are 16, and 1 is 12. A victim hospital, they're in critical conditions. They had non-threatening life injuries with there. Now, there's ongoing things there that they were trying to do there. So this happened about 11:30 on Saturday night, just before Easter. And it was at the Circle Center Mall. And you wonder what the parents are doing, because the parents should have not have their children out at that time of night. That's really sad. We have so much of mass shooting and so forth. So I really feel for you out there. Hold on a second here. Let me see. I've lost her page where we're at. I was looking up there. Hold on a second. I'll be right with you. Okay, somehow um, we had a little hiccup here. I'm back in here. I'm sorry about that. Um, okay. Um, there's several ways you can do with the podcast. One way with the podcast is that you can text a message, put your name and the city and state you're from. And another way you can deal with the podcast is to call in. I have a number here if you want to be a guest on our show. It's 626-698-0990. And it connects you to my office phone, and you can go ahead and talk on the phone about your case. I love to have you as a guest. We sometimes have a guest and sometimes we don't have a guest, but I love to have you there. The The other way is that maybe you want to schedule your time at a later date. And what you can do, you can um, call in and, oh, excuse me, you can email my producer, Grace, at vincentwdavis.com. That's Grace at vincentwdavis.com. And she will gladly put you on one of my 14 shows. I'm on 7 days a week, twice a day, one time in the morning at 10 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, another time at nighttime at 7 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. And we are to talk about CPS, matters relating to CPS. And um, I've met people from all walks of life, all over the country, and also we've had people from other countries call in or text in. We've had people from Australia, from Canada, from the United Kingdom, and Ghana and Mexico. In fact, we had someone call in from Mexico. And so I like very much um, for the feedback because I've talked to over 100 people and everybody sees has something in common, which is very troubled times with child protection services, CPS. And it's happening everywhere. Child Protective Service goes back to the 1853 with a start, just before the Civil War was happening because there was camps of children. They're literally children without parents living in camps, and um, they needed help, and so they started a society, Children's Aid Society, in 1853, and so um, you know um, So, uh, with that being said, there's a history, and the one thing I noticed that in the history, it seems they have trouble with the money part, and it's not them, but uh, the money that they get, they seem to squander it. There's been a lot of bad use of the money, and that's what they're doing now. I know in my case personally that it's a $1 billion business, and they're trafficking your children. They are very deceptive, and they don't help you and they don't believe in parent reunification. They don't believe in parent reunification. And so it's very difficult, I know, with your case because they're going to take your children because they think every case is an imminent danger. They think everything is imminent danger. So, um, with that being said, I uh, I know that you're experiencing it, and the one thing, and that leads me to my rule number one, that is something that we all should have had, and I should have done the same thing, is have an attorney. That attorney is Mr. Vincent W. Davis. He has a law firm, and we want to thank him for producing the show. If it wasn't for him, we wouldn't have this show. So he produces the show, and he's offering a consultation right now for help. He will talk to you for 30 minutes for $49.99. All you have to do is call in 888-888-6582. And when you call in, make sure you say that Bob Pace sent you. And also make sure when you talk to Mr. Davis, you say Bob Pace sent you. And he will help you with the strategies of how to fight CPS and get your children back. And I know it's really hard what you're going through because emotionally it takes emotional toll. It's taken emotional toll in my family. And I've been fighting CPS for 14 years, ever since I lost my job, and it's been a heartless feeling, a gut feeling that you go through there because there's a lot of emotions involved, and no one seems to be the same. I have a family right now. My family consists of six. A wife of 32 years, and I have two marriages. And right now, the older group of my family are doing okay, but something has turned them off where we don't seem to talk to them that much. But my young family is the one that CPS investigated through allegations and stole our children and took our children because they thought they were in imminent danger. And they took us from us. And instead of people helping us, we got no help. We got no help. I mean, I lost my job through no fault of my own when I was laid off because of the contract work that I brought in from the state of California. State of California is going bankrupt, and they had to write me IOUs for contracts I have. Well, the company couldn't wait for that, so we had to close their doors in general contracting. And suddenly I'm without work, and that's hard on the family because I've been supporting my family ever since my children were born and since I've been with my wife. And I've tried my best to provide a home and food and shelter. And it's been really a struggle. Even today it is. But I want you all to know that I feel for you, and you can get your children back. You got to be strong at it. So many of the people have said they keep fighting at it and keep fighting at it. And so, with that being said, you just never want to give up. You never want to give up. And so if you get a hold of Mr. Davis, he will help you. And he is a professional family law attorney. He knows how to work in dependency court. He's a trial attorney. He has as many years fighting CPS and getting children back. He also can sue CPS. He can sue CPS on federal or state violations of your constitutional rights and your civil rights. There's a lot of rights that you have a tendency to want to fight. And so I'm telling you that that what you need to do is you need to be persistent and find out much as you can about your case. And your case starts with allegations, and the problem by allegations, there are two types of individuals that make allegations. There are the individuals that are called lay people. These are people that are your family, friends, or relatives They can call in and say anything. Anybody can make a complaint to CPS. And what CPS will do, they will investigate it. They have to within 24 hours. And they think that it's true. That's the problem. Lay people can use it as a mechanism to retaliate against a neighbor. If your dog's barking or your yard's overgrown or where it is, neighbors will call it in. I see this even today, that people, if they want to get somebody, they'll call in falsely and accuse them falsely, and that gets involved with the government. And then the government gets involved, and you got to spend all your time spending that out. Even today, myself personally, I found out something that I spent all day with the government trying to straighten out a mess that's not true. But they are bad people out there that that will report you wrongly and falsely. And I feel for you on that. The other group of individuals are professionals. Those are your teachers, doctors, nurses, and so forth. And they see a child with an injury, or they look like they're suspect something, they will report it to CPS. They have an obligation. If, for instance, you come to the hospital and you taste positive drugs and you're pregnant, they're going to call in the CPS. Okay, excuse me 1 second. Sorry. Hold on 1 second. All right. I oh boy. I guess it's one of those nights going to have a bad night, and you have to make best with what you can. And I really care about you all out there. Now, as you listen in, I'm going to give you some other information in there, but please, please get an attorney. I didn't, and I should have. I waited for a year and a half. I tried to fight them my own. It's not going to work. This particular agency is very deceitful and very, very bad. And I want you all to be careful to what you say. Be careful what you do. Now, there's two other rules. I like to get them out of the way. Rule number 2 is you take very comprehensive notes. You're going to find yourself in a very serious problem here with note taking. You want to take notes, and you want to get a notebook, a blank notebook, and write in all the incidents, everything related to your CPS case. You put down the date and time and the people you talk to. The date and time and the people you talk to. And then you put down the incident. Describe the incident, and it says on another line, and in the third line you put down the outcome. The outcome may come later. You don't know the outcome. That's fine, because you can come and fill it out later. And you keep doing that for each incident. Skip a couple lines so you can add things later. And that's your notebook of notes. And that will pay off. I forgot to do that. That's so important. You need to do that. It really is. It is so, 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 so important. And so, with that being said, that's my rule number 2. And now, rule number 3 is probably the most important thing. And I did a mistake. And a lot of people are still doing it. Is you don't talk to social workers. You don't talk to police. The less you say, the better off you are, because you're in a lot of trouble with CPS. Even though the allegations may be false, you don't want to give them. They're going to sit there and trick you and make you feel that life is wonderful. They're going to sit there and say promises they can't keep. They're very deceitful. I'm telling you, their focus is to make money off your children. Their focus is to keep your children, your case open, so they get the money from the federal government, so they can do that. So they can do that. And so I feel really sad that they can do this to other people. And most of you, and a lot of you, are down on your luck on life. and try to struggle as best as you can. Also, you have a lot of, hardship, and you may not have the money to hire an attorney because it takes an attorney. And, the amount of money you have for retainers, I don't know. I've heard, 7, 10,000, 20,000. I had to sell my home to get an attorney. And that was the sad part. That CPS was so bad with me with their false allegations. I had to sell my home. And the CPS actually destroyed my family. My family's still not the same. It isn't. My wife of 32 years is really gone bad, and we're still together. And I am really surprised. And my two sons that returned to me are okay, hanging in there. My older son had to stop his senior year of high school, and my younger son is trying to finish his senior year of high school, going on to college. And our daughter, the beautiful daughter that we had, was told by a social worker to divorce her parents, to seal her birth certificate up, and to change her name. And that was done by a social worker. So I know that they don't care. I know they don't care. And that is really, 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 really hard. And so the stress can be really mind boggling. I know you're underneath a lot of stress too of how to get your kids back. And I've told 3 things: getting an attorney, keeping a notebook, and say no to police. Don't let them in your home. And the thing is, they have to have a warrant if they're going to search your home, and so you can do an easy way when you're dealing with police or after. You can sit there. I have an attorney. My attorney will get back to you on this. You don't have to. You can sit there. My attorney will get back to you. That'll give you some time to either get an attorney or try to figure out what to do about your case. I thought by telling the truth that they would work with you. I did not know that the whole purpose was to steal your children. I did not know that. And I'm telling you, it's the truth. It's the sad truth. But the reality of Child Protection Services is they want to traffic your children. They do child trafficking. They want to put them in foster care. And it is hard. It's so hard. And so again, every night I talk, I get different guests. If you want to, talk on the show, you can call in to 626-698-0990. Or if you want to schedule another time to talk on the show, you can email it to grace@vincentwdavis.com. vincentdavis.com. And I want to thank Mr. Davis, who's producing this show, that he is available to talk to at 888-888-6582. He is a professional family law attorney, and he will help you. He wants to help you. That's why he has this podcast. Why I'm doing this podcast? Because I want to help you. I want to help you, and I feel for you. I've been there. I know what the feelings are. I'm struggling in life too. And I know what it is to be homeless, to be without money. I've worked all my life. I started at age 15. So I'm a loving, caring husband, man, and I'm educated. But apparently at my time of life, I'm hitting all these hiccups. And it shouldn't be when you're older. This is supposed to be your golden years. But at age 60, I lost my job through no fault of my own. At age 65, my children were stolen from us. Age 68, I got my children back. But now I'm 74, and I'm out here looking for work. I'm out here looking for a job. And I need to take care of my family. My son has, 3 more months of schooling. I'm behind with him on his tuition, and I'm hoping I get it all together by the time it comes through. Because he has a college. My youngest son, on his own, pretty much with help, has got a college lined up. He's also maintained A's and B's in his STEM classes. He has a really great background, and so he really wants to do something with his life. He has a job, by the way. He has two jobs. For 4 years, he's worked at the school food services, and he's a cashier at the school and does that 1 hour, 5 days a week. Month after month, he's done that. All through, because he wants to help. He knows a little bit of money he makes goes to help his tuition. And right now, he's got a job working as a cashier at a drugstore making money. He only works a little bit, but he makes money on the weekends. And with that money, he says, Dad, I'll help you. I'll help you. He says he wants to help you. And he's done wonderful things. It's really interesting how children have come. And I know that my other son, who's 24, is coming around. I hope and pray someday that our daughter be returned that wants to have a relationship with us. She's 21 now. And the rest of my family, my other daughter, who's 32, I believe she's married and she's a school teacher, but I've yet to see her since she was age 3. And then there's our other daughter, who is 36, who left at 25. And I'm hoping that she'll come around and come in there because she's known me since she was 5. I've been the only father she's known for 20 years. And there's the oldest, the son, and he met us when he's age 20 because he was given for adoption at age 15, my wife has. And he has a really great job. He has grandchildren, and so does our oldest daughter. And we love to have her life with the grandchildren, but it's really hard. It really is hard. So my family life is no more different than yours. You're struggling to go through everything, and I feel for you out there. But I want you to know that Mr. Davis and myself want to help you out there. You're not alone. You're not alone. And we have a lot of podcasts, a lot of people talking about child protection services. You'll find them when you're dealing with them that it's like you're in Alice in Wonderland. You fall in a rabbit hole and you hit all these doors that open and close to nowhere and cards that fold. And so I really feel I really feel your pain because you go to the agency and you think you can trust them, and you have no other mechanism because your children are your livelihood. You love them, and if you did some corrections, you'll correct them. All parents, we all have hiccups. We're not perfect parents. We're not born with a book that says how to be a perfect parent. But my CPS place in Southern California, when I met with the director, I went to the top to try to resolve it, and I was unsuccessful to do that. And that's the first time in my life that by me not going to the top, I couldn't get anywhere. And he has the Taj Mahal of a place. I mean, it is so rich. And it's like the Emerald City of Oz. And the guy that's the director had so much neck, I thought he'd fall over. But they didn't care. They don't care. Their goal is to make that $1 billion business. Our social workers, for some of you listening out there, are not educated. They don't take social work classes. They don't even have a certificate or license. And there's no one watching over them. There's no watchdog. There's no like a board of directors or supervisors that does check and balances. In fact, one of my guests on the show said that in Richmond, Kentucky, that the social workers there were audited and $389,000 was unaccounted for. $389,000. Now, I only picked Richmond, Kentucky, because other states I've heard other similar things. I've talked to people in Texas and Maine, New Hampshire. I mean, there was a grandmother taking care of her daughter's kids while she was in the hospital in Boston, Massachusetts. And social workers from there came all over to Rhode Island to her home and demanded the children because somehow what she was doing in the hospital, she was being neglected, but she made arrangements to go with her mom. And there's nothing wrong with that. Again, that's a different kind of episode. There's been so many episodes of children that were in foster care that grew up and had children, and then their children were taken away. And so it's a mixture of horrible events and so forth. And I'm only relating those things to you, on that. Now, there are many topics that I've been investigating. Um, the the latest. I always follow it because last weekend it was the children from Indiana. They're having problems, and then a couple weeks ago we had Congress interviewing all the CEOs of all the social media. There was Facebook, there was Twitter, Instagram, uh, Telegram, I think is one of them. Anyway, the CEO like Elon Musk and other CEOs were there, and they're asking them, and this is what's really disturbing to me. They're asking them why you have no protection for the children and minors in there. Yes, the media should have a way of protecting children getting in there because children get into adult things too soon. But then my question was in my head, what about the parents? Why were the parents giving a child a phone when they're in sixth grade in elementary school? I mean, it's important to keep in touch, but they can give them phones without internet because they're going to get into things. They're going to get into things. And that is the sad part about things. That's the sad part about things. So, you know, um, they're, the parents got to take responsibility and tell your children it's too late at age. When I was raising my younger kids and they wanted to go to a concert at age 15 or 16, I said, no way you're going to go to a concert. But I did take them to a concert where I went along and I was watching them and supervising them. But my wife went to a concert and her parents didn't protect her and she got raped at a concert at 15. So that is hard for you to hear this. It is so hard to hear you do all this. Some topics have come up. Someone talked to me about the ICPC. The ICPC stands for Interstate Compact on the Placement of Children. It's where all the 50 states have a mutual agreement or understanding that if they um, uh, want to move children around, they can do so. It's there to protect the children, and they can move from state to state. And this is for the purpose for birth parent reunification or reunification when the court has jurisdiction over the child. So these are child that the court has jurisdiction over, and a child can be placed in another state, but they need a court order. And it's very important that the child and a financial medical plan, it's a 10-step process, must be completed to comply with the ICPC's requirements. So the process involves the ICPC office in both states and the local social service programs, which is CPS. There will be delays for over 6 months for completing the process, but some states do not accept requests for out-of-state placements. So someone talked to me about what ICPC. So I'm just telling you that is what it is. Another person called in and talked about fact-finding appeal. What is the fact-finding appeal? And that's where the appellate court decides whether a reasonable fact-finding could have come to the same conclusion based on the facts in the records. If there's a conflict in evidence and reasonable fact-finding could resolve in conflict with either way, the appellate court will not overturn the trial court's decision. And so, if you guys, you know, are trying to do appeals of things that didn't come out, there is where a specific conviction may be reversed a sentence altered, or new trial may or today an appellate court decides a different course of action. And it's all based on facts and what are the grounds for appeals. Anytime you have a decision made in a case, um, the legal reason that you appeal is based on, for example, that the judge did not apply the law correctly or did not follow the correct legal procedure. Housing disrepair case, a type of legal case where you take your landlord to court for failing to repair a problem in your renting property. So, um, John? Okay. Um, 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 Sorry for the little bit of the background noise here. I'm trying my best there. Daniel Wong says, "Hi, are you?" Well, I'm glad someone asked me that. I'm trying there. I'm really stressed today because I had an unfortunate thing dealing with a government agency. She's from Athens, Georgia here, and um, that's my son. She's the one that brought up the ICPC. My son is in foster care and found, let me see. She says, my son is in foster care, but they sent him to Texas for placement. That was where all the children from Atlanta were sent to Texas for mental health problems. I was told there was nothing to appeal in my case. Um, if you have the facts, any case can be appealed. Again, it takes an attorney, and I hate to keep pointing to an attorney because the attorney costs money, and public defenders will not do appeals or help your case, Daniel. I'm sorry about your son like that, but um, wait 1 second here. All right, again, I apologize for the interruption, but I'm back again. Um, Daniel, if you'd like to be on the show, I know you've been on before. If you'd like to be on before, I welcome you to call in. Daniel's the one that told me about the children from Atlanta going to Texas. And so I don't know if the ICP, it's basically an appeal. You have to find the facts. And again, it's something that attorneys do. Um, if you want to call, that'd be great. I'd love to hear from you. So Danielle's going to talk. That'd be good. That'd be good. Ugh. Okay, so she's going to call in. That'd be good. So here she goes. Hello, Danielle.
Hey.
Hi.
Hey.
What you need to do, Danielle, is turn off.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, but turn me off voice wise on your YouTube thing. Just turn the sound down.
Yeah, I did.
Okay, great.
Is that better?
Yeah, that's much
Yeah.
much better. So glad you came to my rescue because I'm having a very bad day today, and
Yeah,
everybody
I know.
has bad days.
Someone told me to get on because I meant to get on when you come on, but I got sidetracked, and I'm so ADHD that I'm.
Yeah, I
I was like,
understand
wait
that.
a minute, Bob's on.
Yeah, but anyway, to all the people who are listening, we want to welcome Danielle. She's from Georgia, and she has a special needs child that needs to be taken care of, and she has one child, but she's after the other child. Am I correct, Danielle?
I'm what?
You have one child in your custody, but the other child was taken out of state, right?
I have I think he was supposed to be coming to my custody. Like my mother passed away. I've never lost my right. I have 3 kids, but I don't have they're with family right now.
Okay.
But I've never lost my right. But my mother passed away unexpectedly, and he was supposed to come to me, and my aunt intervened and took him and gave him to the state. She interfered with my custody. Like I automatically became his legal caregiver, and she interfered. And
well, didn't you have to when they interviewed? Didn't you show the court documents showing that you had custody of your son?
When she took him, because it was the day my mom passed, I went up there to get him and to be with my family, and she like drug him out of the house, and she kept him from me and lied. And see, I'm on probation, and she kept threatening me about my probation, and that she would have me in cars locked up if I was to come around, or she's made it a big problem now. But I'll tell you, she's guardian of my daughter, my 16-year-old daughter, and I'll tell you what, she's got herself in a pickle because they're supposed to keep the courts up to date with information like their whereabouts and how the kids are doing, and they failed to do that for the last 3 years. So that's violating the guardianship order.
Well,
the original guardianship
couldn't
order.
you make a complaint or maybe do a 3 you can make a hearing? You get a hearing for a change. That 388 I always talked about.
April 24th is the court date.
Oh, so you got a court date on April 24th. Good. All right.
And then my son's situation, how he ended up in Texas was my aunt has lied to it. We call it DFCS out here in Georgia.
Right.
But when this guardianship all happened in 2011, my son, like DFCS, CPS, was never involved. Like over from 2011 on, the judge approved everything, and he said he was going to leave it up to me and the family to decide what to do, like with visitation, with me being involved, and it was that. I mean, case closed pretty much. There was no case plan. There was no feedback. Nothing ever. Well, my mother passed, so 12 years go by, or 11 years go by, and my mom passes away unexpectedly. My son is ADHD and autistic, but he was 17 when she passed. So my aunt took him and pretty much interfered. She did not want me having him. And what it is she didn't want to take care of me either, but what she was trying to do is get me to where I was out of the picture now that my mom wasn't around, and so she can get my daughter, full custody of my daughter. She don't want me around my daughter. It's greed. It's selfish. It's wrong. That's one. See, a lot of people don't realize, and the third party or whoever, they don't realize you're never going to break that bond with that parent-child. You never are. It don't matter how bad that people think that child and that parent are always going to have some type of connection with each other.
Well, I wish that was true. I wish that was true about our daughter because she's 21 now, and she has no bond either with her mother or myself. And she was.
And the thing is,
yeah,
she might come around.
Well, I keep hoping that, but she was 12 years old at the time, and the social worker told her you need to divorce your parents, and you need to change your name,
and
you need to seal your birth certificate. And she convinced her to do that.
My 16-year-old, the one that's involved with my aunt that did this, that's what I'm. She's been. How can I say? She's been leading her like a materialistic life, getting her nails done, getting her hair done, throwing materialistic things at her when that's not, just to cover it up, like to get the focus off me, trying to get her upset, and it has worked with my daughter. She's mad. I figure she's mad at me, whatnot. But I've always been in the picture. It's them that my aunt has isolated me, alienated me from my daughter, because I was around from 2011 to about 2015, and for some reason my girls, I can tell you everything about my son. My son is like, that's my little partner in crime, that's my little rider right there. Like, he's been with me through thick and thin. I mean, that's my buddy right there. I mean, when I got in trouble and when I went off to prison, when I got out, he put me in timeout for 2 weeks. I mean, I couldn't go nowhere. He told my nanny I better be there when he got home from school, I mean, I know my son, like, and that's a bond that is definitely it's unbreakable. I mean, even though he's in Texas, when I see it, like when I popped up on the video to see him, he was mute until I popped up, like after 2 months of him being in foster care, when they finally found me and I finally found him. And he looked at the provider and he said, I told you my mom was coming. I told you she was coming to get me. I told you she might be late, but she's here. And that's one thing I've always stood by with my kids is mama's there, but when I got in trouble back in 2011, 2010, 11, I was going away for some time. It was like two years. And I asked my family for help because I didn't want my kids going to the state. I did not want the state touching my kids. And my mom but we agreed that the kids would stay where they're at, because how can you expect me to get out of prison and go pick them up and say, hey, come on, let's go? That would be detrimental to it would be detrimental to them, but also myself as well. I had to relearn, I had to readapt to the real world, the free world is what I call it.
Right.
So I had to.
I mean, how long you been out of? Right. How long you been out of prison? How long you been out of prison?
I'm since 2012, so
okay,
it's over 10 or 13 years almost.
Okay, and are they still using that against you?
They were trying to, and what's crazy, and it's funny you say that, because when all this started with my son, when I got as a matter of fact, I'll read you exactly what it says. It's on the, I think it was the adjudication, I think, and because see, I never even had, like, with all this, let me read what they wrote on my, because they were trying to base it on the original case. What original case? And they were trying to do that, what you just said, trying to base it on my criminal, or the criminal issues,
right?
Like unresolved,
right?
And they're trying to, but it's crossed out, because that's what they were trying to originally go by at my hold on, let me find it. It's for the adjudication and disposition.
Right. Hold on 1 second. I need to thank Mr. Davis again. Again, I want to thank Mr. Davis for producing this podcast. And if you please call him if you need help. It's at 888-888-6582, and tell him that Bob Pace sent you. And when you see him, talk to Mr. Davis, he sent you. So I want to thank again Mr. Davis for producing the podcast. Go ahead, Danielle. Back to you.
So at the order of adjudication and disposition, and you got to think, like, they didn't know. They said my aunt had told them that I abandoned my kids like 12 years ago, which was a lie. I talked to my aunt the day after my mom passed away. She's seen me, and she told them she didn't know my whereabouts. So where they messed up was they failed my family, because they did not contact no other family. They did not try to make contact. You know how they found me was Facebook.
Okay.
They contacted me over Facebook after 2 months of me trying to go on this like circle trying to find my kid. while I'm being threatened with my probation, and by my aunt, knowing my son is there, but then all of a sudden he's gone, and I didn't know what happened to him. And that's when I found out that he was in DFAC's hands. And I'm like, my aunt pretty much gloated at a memorial she had for my mother. And I guess the psychiatrist, there was a mandated reporter there or something. And I just, but if they removed, well, let me just, back to what you were saying, I'm jumping back and forth, but DFAC, they received a referral with concerns that he was without a legal guardian. He was in the custody of my mother, but she passed away, which was his grandmother. The grandmother passed away, and they were trying to say that there was no other relatives to take custody because they didn't know where I was, supposedly, because my aunt lied to them. The mother remains, they're saying the mother remains unable to care for the child due to her, and the issues of dependency from the original juvenile case remain unresolved. And that's crossed out. That's what they tried to hit me with first. And they can't do that because that case is not, it was resolved. You get what I'm, like, it was done that day, August 17th, 2011. And, but I'll tell you, remember how I mentioned to you nunc pro tunc?
Yes, I do talk about that topic, yes.
Okay, so I've been telling people to make sure to look at your court orders because, in my understanding, from what I've heard and did research, the nunc pro tunc should never come up a lot in any court cases. You know, like it shouldn't be on every court order at all. But I'll tell you that nunc pro tunc, in my eyes, is for clerical error, not judicial typos, or if something's not filed at the right time, like a clerical error, but not to go back and change facts of findings or stuff like that. And I'll tell you, my case, the nunc pro tunc is really, it's there. It's on about every court order there is in my case since February. And I'm gonna have to. It's court orders they've kept for me because there's still a lot that there's a lot of quiet shush stuff that they've done, and that's one thing. I'm not dumb, and I did not back down. I did not let them walk all over me.
No, but in general, a court ruling nunc pro applies to retroactively to correct an earlier ruling.
Right. They shouldn't do that because they're saying they offered me services and now that when they nunc pro tunc an order right back to December, they said they offered me services then. No, they didn't. I didn't get no services offered at all. But they're trying to falsify information and do the nunc, like backdate it to an earlier time to cover where they failed my family and me, and just to prevent foster care. Because it even says on one of the orders the judge wrote in violation of the guardianship order. So let me find that. But he wrote that in, and it's how could they? Well, I don't. There's a bunch of gray areas, if I must say. You get what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
There's a bunch of like on the adjudication hearing, they didn't even have me in the courtroom, so I had no idea what, you know, and that was a court appointed attorney, and she like totally worked me. But they have not, they failed to make reasonable efforts. They failed to, I forgot what it is, exhaust all reasonable efforts. So that's what happened. They jumped the gun and put him in foster care. When my family was never contacted. And they even said that there was nobody willing or able to take him, which that was a lie. But my aunt now, I have an aunt that is helping. She's on that video that we were on the news, and she's helping me get my son.
Yeah.
My son will be home in about 2 weeks. Hopefully.
Oh, good. That's good news. Excuse me.
And then after that,
yeah,
I will help anybody I can, and I'm going to push this to the max.
Right.
I'm going to file whatever I need to get them in contempt, whatever.
Okay, Dan.
It's wrong what they've done.
Danielle, hold on one second. We have
Okay.
Issei Israel called in, and I mean, he texted. He says, "Can I call in?" What is your question right now? Because I have Danielle on the phone. Because of our time limits, Ishel, you could call in again tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock, and you can call in, or you can email Grace at vincentwdavis.com to be on my show. You just pick a date and a time. But I don't know where you're from, Ishel Israel. Um, yeah. You are you what city and state? And then yeah, I saw that where he said yes there, and that I'm not trying to cut you short, but I want to help you. But you have to call in tomorrow. There's about 4 minutes, or actually three minutes left of the show, and so you said yes. I would like to know the city and state you're from, Ishel. But thank you for texting in.
Kids were taken in Florida. From Florida.
Okay, from Florida. Okay, you're from Florida, so we have someone from Georgia and from Florida tonight. That's really good. Now you say this 24th is a real important date. Is there anything you need help from me to help you with that date on the 24th? If I answer a lot of your questions, or
what my with my girls, all three of my kids were on different guardianship orders when each of the daily, like my son was with my mom, my daughter's with my aunt, and then my other daughter is with my cousin. So it was separate, but it was all done the same day, right?
Okay.
So everybody's was the same. It was all the same findings. It was just they would be at different homes, right?
And at that time, why they did not want to put you with, because you're incarcerated?
Yes. The reason why that the kids were going this, but I mean, I placed the kids there myself. They never removed them. And that's what they were trying to say in the paperwork, is that they removed my kids. Like, no, I've already had my kids where they were going to be before we even went to court and before I even got arrested. And I mean, we already had everything in play and order. I mean, and because I was not letting DFAC involved at all. Like, I was not going to go to prison knowing my kids were in the state. That's one thing I asked my mom, please. I said, don't let the kids suffer because of my, and I'll get better. I'll do right,
Yeah.
But don't let the kids suffer because of this, Mom. And my mom didn't, and my nanny didn't, and now with them to promise that they would keep him out of the state's hands, and my aunt to do this to my son, it's just wow. It's like,
well, that's your mom's sister. Your aunt is your mom's sister,
yeah.
Right? Yeah.
My mom's older sister, yes.
Wow.
And it's crazy because I have my disabled brother, my special needs brother. He's 37. He's in my care. I have to take care of him for 8 years.
Wow.
And he's disabled, and he's physically and
you're a remarkable woman to sacrifice your life to take care of another.
I'll do. Oh yeah. Because I mean, it's not their fault that they, they're just a little bit different than a normal person, but they still have a chance of life too.
Danielle, I want you. Yeah, Danielle, I want you to call back in another time, either tomorrow morning, tomorrow night. Feel free to, because Ishel, I want you to call in tomorrow if you can, or tomorrow night, or whatever, and I'll have you answer your questions. But I do have to sign off. Again, I want to thank Mr. Davis for providing this podcast, and to call in to 888-888-6582, and he will help you. He will help you. Again, I want to God bless all you people out there. You're fine, upstanding people. I know you have a glitch. You need to take care of your children, but keep at it. Don't give up. And then I'll see you all tomorrow morning. This is Bob Pace signing off.